fear and threat and stress is a really powerful transdiagnostic factor that we're learning about, states of traumatic stress and overwhelm that can really change how a person's autonomic nervous system is functioning. And that itself leads to physical symptoms, to states of mind, to hypervigilance, to brain fog, difficulty concentrating and focusing, feeling aggressive or panicked or flat or paralyzed. All of these are linked with autonomic states. And the most evidence that relates to this particular mechanism in theory is with MDMA. We know that MDMA has a significant effect on the firing patterns of the amygdala, which is part of the limbic system that's involved in fear and threat detection. The amygdala can be thought of as the smoke alarm or smoke detector in a person's orienting mechanism, right? A smoke alarm for threat. Is there threat present? And when people have had overwhelm, traumatic stress, extreme stress over time, these centers of the brain can be differently primed. They can be hypervigilant. And then when attempting to resolve the impacts on the autonomic nervous system and the threat detection systems and emotional systems and cognitive systems in the brain through regular therapy, what can really get in the way is that the alarm goes off and people go into autonomic states of dysregulation. And then it's really hard to do any productive therapy because what happens in those states of survival energy is that our prefrontal cortex, our ability to reason and to integrate new information, to inhibit behaviors, is all really taken offline. Really, there's not a lot of possibility. The whole organism has now oriented to averting danger and getting away from threat, which doesn't involve this sort of higher order thinking. So here's another mechanism by which psychedelic therapy can work, particularly MDMA in the setting of trauma. A powerful transdiagnostic factor across a variety of mental illnesses is that with the presence of MDMA, the firing of the amygdala is dramatically reduced. Fear is reduced. So this is called fear extinction. So for temporary state under MDMA, there's a lot less hypervigilance and highly habituated ways of detecting and orienting and responding to perceived threat. So in this case, then, a person might approach traumatic memories, historical content that is part of what is continuing to drive symptoms from underneath the surface of conscious awareness without becoming dysregulated, with being able to stay present to it, to feel through it emotionally, to be witnessed therapeutically in that process of speaking about and feeling perhaps long repressed feelings. It's like a person's zone of optimal arousal or window of tolerance, which is a term coined by psychiatrist Dan Siegel, suddenly is widened by the presence of MDMA in this example. And then so much more therapeutic content can be navigated, renegotiated, and resolved. So that's another mechanism that can be really powerful that's underlying some of the mechanisms of psychedelic-assisted therapy. There are more that I think that is probably enough for this introductory level discussion.
This mini lecture is part of Nuances' Introduction to Psychedelics, which is a free course where we explore the world of psychedelic medicines and their potential as therapeutic tools. Check out the link in the description for more info.